Sherlock Holmes, The Emerald Crown. Chapter 3. The Night. Holmes sat back in his chair. "Well, Mr. Holder, what happened next?" he asked. Holder continued with his story. "Before I got into bed last night, I looked into all the different rooms in the house. I went first to the office next to my room. I looked into the desk. The emerald crown was there, and it was safe. I then locked the desk again carefully. After that I went downstairs, and I was surprised when I found Mary next to an open window in the hall. She quickly closed the window when she saw me. 'Uncle,' she said, 5 minutes ago Lucy came in through the kitchen door. She was out in the lane. Did you know that?' 'No, I did not,' I said angrily. 'She was with one of her admirers again, I think,' said Mary. 'It isn't safe. We don't want strangers near the house at night.' 'No, we don't. I must talk to her in the morning about this.' 'And Mary,' I said, 'did you lock all the doors?' 'Yes, I did,' she said. 'Are you sure?' 'Yes, I am sure.' Then I went upstairs to bed. I'm not usually a good sleeper, and sometimes I get up in the night. Well, at about 2 o'clock in the morning, I suddenly opened my eyes when I heard a strange noise. So, according to what we read, why did Holder look into all the different rooms in the house? Well, according to what he said, he first looked in his desk, and then he came down the stairs. He wanted to make sure all the doors and all the windows were locked in order to make sure that the Emerald Crown was safe. So he was doing all of this so they could make sure the Emerald Crown was there and it was safe. Now, when he went down the stairs, where did he see Mary? When he went down the stairs, he saw Mary next to an open window in the hall. And then she closed it again when she saw him. Now, he made sure that all the windows and all the doors were locked. He went to bed. And at 2 o'clock in the early morning, he heard something. So what did he hear in the early morning? He heard a strange noise, and specifically it's coming from his office. And I'm going to tell you why did I say his office. It wasn't a loud noise. Is someone closing a window or a door, perhaps? I thought. I sat up in bed and listened. Everything was quiet for a minute or two. But then I heard somebody in my office. You see? So this is why I said previously in the third question, when it said, what did he hear in the early morning? This is why I said that the strange noise was coming from his office. I felt afraid and got out of bed. I went to the office and slowly opened the door. In the half light, I could see Arthur in only his shirt and trousers. He had no shoes on. The emerald crown was in his hands, and he pulled at it wildly. He wanted to break it, I think. "Arthur," I cried, "what are you doing with the crown, you thief? You thief!" When he heard me, the color left his face, and the crown fell from his hands. I ran over and looked at it. One of the corners of the crown with 3 emeralds on it was missing. "Arthur," I said, Where are the missing emeralds? The emeralds? He asked quietly. Yes, I said, the emeralds. But surely they are all here, he answered. Look, there are 3 missing emeralds. Do I need to call you a liar and a thief? I cried. So, who was in the office according to what we have read? So, let's get back to the bedroom. So, Mr. Holder was on his bed, in his bed. So he woke up. He heard a strange noise coming from his office. He woke up. He saw, in half light, he could see his son. So who was in the office? Arthur was the person in the office. Which takes us to the next part. How was he? How did he look like? This is what the second question is about. Describe Arthur when he was in the office. He was wearing, according to his father, he was wearing only his shirt and trousers. He had no shoes on. He was holding the emerald crown in his hands. Which takes us to the last question. What happened to the emerald crown? Remember when his father shouted at him, called him a thief? Well, he dropped the crown. The crown fell from his hands, and he saw his when he saw his father, the crown fell from his hands. And one of the corners where 3 emeralds were missing. And how did he know that? He took the crown. He looked at it. He found that a corner where 3 emeralds were missing. So this is all what happened to the crown. It fell from Arthur's hands. Holder took it. He looked at it. He found that a corner was missing. Now, Holder called Arthur a liar and a thief. Discuss. Well, let's start with a thief. Why would he call him a thief? First of all, let us see it from Mr. Holder's perspective. He entered the office. He saw the crown in Arthur's hand. So technically, Arthur would be the thief. So here's the answer. He thought that Arthur took the missing emeralds. Because when he took the emerald, when he took the crown, he found out that there was a corner. Well, there was a corner missing. A corner with 3 emeralds were missing. So he thought that Arthur was the person who took the emeralds. So he called him a thief. And he told his father that he didn't do it. And how did he tell him? When he told him, they are surely here. Like he didn't see it. He didn't know, didn't notice that there was a corner with 3 emeralds missing. So this is why he called him a liar. He thought that he was lying about it, he stole that 3 emeralds, and then he's lying about it, saying that like they are surely here. What are you talking about? Let us see what Arthur felt. Liar, thief, said Arthur angrily. I'm not going to listen to your names. But I saw you with the crown in your hands. I said, you wanted to break it. You're wrong. You don't understand, said Arthur. He then stopped suddenly and said, I'm not going to say one more word about any of this. I'm going to leave the house in the morning and never come back. You are going to leave this house in the hands of the police, I cried. Call the police then, said Arthur. It doesn't matter to me. By this time, everybody in the house was out of bed. Mary ran into the room. When she saw the crown and Arthur's face, she understood everything. With a cry, she fell suddenly into a chair. I called for one of the maids and told her, get the police. When two police officers arrived at the door, Arthur looked white and ill. He stood with his head down. "Are you really going to give me to the police, father?" he asked. "Yes," I answered. "You know the crown is the royal family's. The police need to investigate this crime carefully. We must find the missing emerald, or there's going to be a scandal in this country." Arthur listened and then looked up at me. "Can I ask you for one more thing, father? Can I leave the house for 5 minutes?" "Leave the house for 5 minutes," I said. "Leave you free to run away or put the missing emerald somewhere safe?" "No, no, of course you can't." I then started to talk quietly. "Please, Arthur, I'm a famous banker. I have a lot to lose here. Give me back the emeralds now and we can forget everything." "And forget your names for me, liar and thief? Never." So, Hulda called the police to catch his son. Arthur, discuss. Why would a father like the police to catch his son? Let us take a look at it. Of course, you're going to say because he saw the crown in his hands. Well, okay, that's an answer, but but you know why did he call the police? He called them for something which is far more important than this. Like, he saw the crown in his hands. This is something important. This is what he thinks it's important for him to call the police. So from his perspective, yes, Arthur is a thief. From his perspective. But the first thing I need to tell you about the crown, this is the royal family's crown. So this crown was the royal family's, and now we have 3 emeralds missing. So he needed the police to come to investigate the situation, to investigate the case carefully. He wanted to investigate the crime carefully and find the missing emeralds. And all of this to prevent a scandal from happening. But still, the most important of all, Hulda saw the crown in Arthur's hands, so this is why he called the police to catch his son. "And forget your names from me, liar, thief? Never!" cried Arthur, and his face was red and angry. There was nothing more to say. I called the police officers into the room and gave Arthur to them. "Look over the house upstairs and downstairs," I said. "Go into every room. Only stop looking when you find the missing emeralds." The police were in the house for hours, but they found nothing. And Arthur, he didn't open his mouth again. He didn't say a word. He sat there with his head in his hands. Early this morning, the police took Arthur away. I went with him and then talked to the head officer at the police station. He couldn't understand the case. He gave me your name and address, and so I came quickly here to Baker Street. I badly need your help, Mr. Holmes. Last night, I lost everything. The emeralds, my son, and my good name. You must help me to get them back." So, the head officer at the police station gave Hulda the name and address of Sherlock Holmes. Discuss. Let us go back to when the police took Arthur away, and they searched the house. They searched every corner and every room in the house. And what did they find? They found nothing. And they took Arthur away to the police station. And then Hulda came and talk to the head officer about the case. So when he talked to him about the case, the head officer couldn't understand the situation. Like, he couldn't understand the case. So he gave him the name and the address, hoping that Sherlock Holmes will help him with his case. So this is why he gave him the name and the address of Sherlock Holmes. Now let's comment on some quotes. Starting with the first quote. I must talk to her in the morning about this. Well, who said this? Holder said that to Mary about Lucy, who was with one of her admirers in the night. And that admirer was a stranger. So he said that he must talk to her in the morning about this admirer, or in general about the admirers that come to her every night at the kitchen door. Coming up next is, are you really going to give me to the police, father? Obviously, Arthur said this to his father when he asked one of the maids to call the police to catch him. Then we have number 3. I badly need your help. Well, obviously, we hear this from Mr. Holder when he asked Holmes to help him to get back the missing emeralds and find who stole the emeralds. So Holder said that to Holmes, asking him to help him find the missing emeralds and who stole them. Last but not least, we have, what are you doing with the crown? Who said this? It was Holder, and he said that to Arthur when he entered the office and he saw the crown in his hands.